Hey guys, same gear today for Austere August, Chiseled Face Midnight Stag. And this is the older label that they made a while back. The Omega 011842 from Connaught Shaving. It's got the faux jade handle and it's an Omega knot. I've had that soaking for a few minutes. Let's get it back in the water. The Karve Christopher Bradley with the solid bar B plate, gladius handle, 3¼ inches long. That seems to be just the perfect length for me. The blade, as usual for this month, is the Nacet, and here's my little scorecard. And you can see the little markings on the blade continue to match. And I believe I'm 1 dot behind. You can look at the video description to actually see the true count. Sometimes I forget to put a dot there at the end of the shave, and so this could be use number 418 or 17. I'm not quite sure. All right, so let's get this blade in. And today I decided to do, and I've been talking about this, I decided to do a load where I don't load from the tub, that I scoop it. A 1/4 teaspoon is a very common amount that I mention to people because most soaps use that or less if you want to scoop your soaps. And why is that important? Because there are some people, minority, out there who just don't care too much about their shaves. It's kind of like the Wild West. They'll just kind of load until it looks right. They'll put it on their face until it looks right. They're not really focused on getting the optimum lather, as long as the shave ends up to be okay. Maybe they have tough skin, so it doesn't really matter too much. And so there's no thinking involved for them. And that's okay. That's great. There's room for everybody. But for a lot of other people, there needs to be a little bit more thought in it than that. You pay attention just a little bit more, because too much soap in the mix and the lather's too dry, and you feel that dryness in your face, and it's not as slick. It doesn't perform as well. Maybe you get more nicks, that sort of thing. And a lot of people will, once you've done it for a while, you can definitely get an eye for your lather, your load times, that sort of thing, especially if you use the same soap base over and over. You're going to get a feel for it. You don't need to count swirls or seconds or load or anything like that. You'll get a feel for it, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But when you're new, then that's when this 1/4 teaspoon might be really helpful, because you don't have that eye yet. You don't know what it looks like. You don't know, like maybe that other guy, maybe he loads a certain amount of water in his brush and he just happens to shake it off so many times, and so that's always the right for him. If you don't have the same brush, or you don't know that's how many times he shakes it or whatever, then obviously your water soap ratio can be very different. So I like to recommend a 1/4 teaspoon, just to have an objective amount of soap. Now I got a feeling that this soap base is going to be giving me a lot of lather for this 1/4 teaspoon, but it's a good starting point. I figure we'll do that. I used to scoop all my soaps. So there we go. It's probably not a full 1/4 teaspoon, a little bit less. And I don't like to scoop in the middle, because when you brush load, a lot of times the middle is what goes down first. And so when I scoop around the edges. But as you can see, it's going down, but I guess, you know what? I guess that's a nice thing about this boar brush. See, it's a very wide knot. It doesn't have a lot of, pardon me, got the hiccups there. It doesn't have a lot of structure in the middle. And so it hasn't been digging a hole through the center of the tub. All right, so after you do the scoop, then of course you've got to use a lather bowl. If it's a very soft soap, you know what you can do? If you're a face lather, you don't want to use a bowl. If it's very soft, scoop the 1/4 teaspoon and then smear it on your face. And then take your wet brush and go at it. So this has got a little bit of firmness to it, and so I'm going to spread it around the the bottom of the bowl here. I definitely like bowl lathering. And so the quarter teaspoon is just to kind of make it so you as a new user or a user who's experimenting with different kinds of loading or just wanting to refine your technique, whatever, it tries to get an objective measure there. And so that's also why instead of taking a lot of people will take that sopping wet brush out of the water, give it 1 or 2 shakes, and then they'll want to keep that water that's in there as they go to face lather. Well, how big is this brush? How does it relate to one of you guys? And so that's why I actually like to shake most of it out. The more you shake out, the more objective it is when I add 20 milliliters of water. All right, so most of the water is shaken out. We'll start working at it. We'll see what a 1/4 teaspoon does for my lather. This is also how most people have to lather samples, because obviously those tiny tubs, you can't load right from the little tub. What some people do is take a bowl and they'll press the entire sample into the bowl and just use it till it's done. If that's what you want to do, go for it. I tend to be a little bit more of a hoarder, and I want to keep the sample around to be used later. I'll try it a couple times and then I'll just keep it around. We've got quite a bit of, I'm going to end up with a lot of lather here, guys. As you can see, I've still got some spots where the soap hasn't even absorbed yet. And so we are going to have plenty of lather. This looks like even more than I am getting when I do my, like 8-second load. Still got, see if I can brush it away. I've still got a little bit of soap right there stuck to the bowl. Looking good. Keep adding water. Looks great. So far we've put in about 22, 23 teaspoons. Teaspoons, I meant to say milliliters. Getting kind of pillowy, and where the lather's very creamy looking. Maybe we can go ahead and stop now. Yeah, look at the way it's kind of flattened out in the bowl. I could have taken it too far. It might be too hydrated. We'll give it a shot and see. Just kind of lift it up. Oh yeah, look how elastic that is. That's very hydrated. All right, get my face wet. And we're shaving on about a 24-hour growth today. Did not wash my face prior, so this is the washing. If I've overwatered it, we're going to see this lather kind of disappear. The brush is going to empty. Now, that's overwatering by my standards. It's very possible that there are other people who really like an even wetter lather than I do. There's some guys that say if it's not dripping off your face, it's not wet enough. So the brush kind of has emptied, but as you can see, not really. We've got plenty around here, so I definitely didn't take this water too wet. It can handle this just fine. Matter of fact, I'm going to get rid of some of this lather. So you see how elastic that, remember how elastic that big old clod was? So you can remember that. I can remember that and say I can take it to that, that distance without a problem, because it'll, as we can see, it's looking great. Feels creamy. Doesn't have a whole lot of cushion, but that's okay. The slickness is the main thing that matters. And it's there. It's a light, kind of soapy kind of slickness. Rinses easily away. I mean, there are definitely people who might want theirs a little creamier, a little thicker than this, but I really like this. All right. A little tuggy. This side a little better. And there we go. I kind of buff by habit. Buffing meaning going over areas in kind of small repetitive motions. Didn't get very much lather on my brush that time. There we go. And so when it's a little tuggy, you can, on that first pass, just kind of go through it quickly. And then the second one's much better. Cross grain now. And that's pretty comfy. You can move your mouth in different ways to tighten your skin if you want. You can choose to be meticulous with your passes. Going back over certain areas, you can go back to the bowl and get a little dollop of lather. You know, or you can be quick with your passes and just do maybe one extra one, whichever way you want to go. All right, load up the brush after that little quick partial rinse. Nice lather today. We know it's well hydrated, but it's got that level of creaminess to it. At least it's nice how I like it. I can see how a thicker lather is neat because it sure feels nice in your fingers. It looks nice. And if that's what you prefer, then go for it. So this is the third pass. And there we go. I'm going to take a little bit here and work this from the cross grain from the other side here. And then we can go ahead and do that kind of against the grain notion right there. I've got some lather on my hand, so why not spread it around and kind of do some touch-ups there before the rinse. All right, so fourth pass, and this will, for my cheeks, it'll just kind of be a touch-up. And really, I guess for my neck too, since I just did that, my tricky spot, I kind of already did that against the grain. Kind of a slant against the grain. So this will be a quick one, just kind of to get the extras. Feels great. And also when you've got a nice wet lather, you can just hit your face with it many times because it's kind to your face instead of drying, concentrated, you know, that sort of thing. And I'll do that same kind of against the grain again. Hey, got a bunch of lather on your razor like that, but you need to go back over an area, do the backwards thing. Oh, it's falling off. Obviously you can do that, but you can roll it backwards and then it'll lay down some of that lather that it's got under the razor. Oh yeah, see, that feels great. We have given that area a very close treatment today. Well done. Face feels great. Tremendous. And we have probably 3 passes of lather left over. So, nice generous amount. Did we actually pick it all up? I think so. I think we finally ended up getting it all up from the bottom of the bowl. Clean the bowl and brush. So one of the fun things that I was hoping to be able to watch during this month of using the same brush is perhaps to see the bloom increasing over time. And I think so. I think we are gradually, it's just very gradually starting to see a few extra little guys, but in some cases, not really. I mean, I think that view right there is kind of just how it started out. I definitely think we are getting a few more split tips around, and so I'm sure that's increasing. It's just very slow. So we used just a little less than 1/4 teaspoon, and I got 7 passes of lather. And so obviously we could go with less than that amount of soap if we wanted to. Could we go all the way to an 1/8 of a teaspoon? I bet that might be a little skimpy. Let's go ahead and do the aftershave treatment. The good skin goodies that are found in here. It is alcohol based as well, but it's got some good stuff too. And a menthol, of course. The Chiseled Face, Midnight Stag Splash, and then we've got the cologne as well, the EDP for Midnight Stag. Alright, my face just soaked that right up. I forgot that I'd gone and towel dried my face. I was just kind of out of my rhythm for some reason. And this I just look forward to so much. We're doing 4 sprays because this is in the 2nd week of August and I am doubling the number of sprays that is specified in the Midnight Stag Challenge. Oh man, I love the menthol really masks in the aftershave. It masks certain scents for quite a while. You do smell it later, but that menthol is there. And the cologne just comes in there without that menthol, and you get a much better dose of and some neater aspects of the scent than the Splash has. So really enjoying that. There we go. Very happy with that one. The load. It's kind of what I expected. Definitely can be less than 1/4 of a teaspoon, and you'll get plenty of lather if you're a bowl lather who likes to scoop. There we go. And I do scoop when I have a new soap that I'm trying and I kind of doubtful whether I'm going to like it or not, because there are some people out there when you go to sell it on the used market that do prefer that the bowls be scooped instead of brush loaded from. So it might sell quicker or for a better price, you know, that kind of thing. All right, guys, well, there we go. Fun shave. This is my invisible shirt where it almost blends in with the background there. You guys take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Have a good night.